There's something about the sound of paper sliding under a door that makes time stop. I've thought about that sound a lot over the years. The soft whisper of it, the way it interrupts silence without breaking it. How something so small, just paper, just words, can change everything that comes after. It was spring when it happened, the kind of spring that arrives too early, when the trees are confused and bloom before they should, before the last frost has truly passed. Everything felt unfinished that year. Everything felt like it was holding its breath. I was sitting in my living room, surrounded by pastel ribbons and half-opened gifts. The remains of cake sat on good china. My hands rested on my belly, 7 months along, round and full of promise. Outside, the light was beginning to fade, that soft amber hour when the day hasn't quite decided to let go yet. The house was finally quiet after everyone had left. I remember thinking how strange it was that something so joyful could leave you feeling so tired. All those smiling faces, all those careful hugs, hands hovering near but not quite touching, as if I were something delicate that might break. The laughter that filled the house for hours had left behind only echoes and the faint smell of coffee going cold. That's when I heard it, the whisper of paper on hardwood. I should tell you about Miranda first. That feels important somehow. She started working for me 3 years before this story really begins. Young, maybe 24, with dark hair she always wore, pulled back so tight it must have given her headaches. She had a nervous laugh and a habit of apologizing for things that weren't her fault. Sorry, the copier jammed again. Sorry, the coffee's a bit cold. Sorry seemed to be the first word out of her mouth most mornings. But she was good at her job. Organized in the way that people who are afraid of making mistakes tend to be. Everything color-coded, every file exactly where it should be. She kept my calendar, managed my correspondence, made sure I never missed a deadline or a meeting. She was invisible in the way that truly good assistants are. There until you need something, gone when you don't. I didn't know much about her life outside the office. That was by design, I think. Mine mostly. I've never been good at the personal parts of professional relationships. The birthday cards and baby shower invitations and conversations about weekend plans. I hired people to work, not to be friends. She was with me the day I found out I was pregnant. I remember that now, though I didn't think much of it at the time. I came back from my doctor's appointment, and she was at her desk, typing something, and she looked up with that nervous smile. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Fine," I said. "Just fine." I didn't tell her then. Didn't tell anyone for weeks. Some joys, I thought, should be held close for a while before you share them with the world, before they become real in other people's eyes. 3 weeks later, Miranda told me she was pregnant too. She was scared when she said it. I could hear it in her voice, see it in the way she wouldn't quite meet my eyes. She was barely showing, maybe 3 months along, and she stood in my office with her hands twisted together like she was waiting for bad news. "I wanted you to know," she said. "I know the timing isn't great, but I'll work as long as I can, and I've already looked into how much leave I'm entitled to, and it's fine," I said, cutting her off. "We'll figure it out." But I was lying. Even as I said it, I was calculating. Maternity leave, training someone new, the disruption to my schedule, my own pregnancy, my own needs, my own plans. I was angry, I think, though I didn't let myself feel it then. How dare she get pregnant now, when I needed her most? How dare her timing be so inconvenient? Isn't it strange, the things we don't forgive people for, the small selfishnesses we hide from ourselves? The weeks that followed were tense, in a way I told myself was professional concern. I watched Miranda more carefully, noticed when she arrived late, when she left early, when she took too long at lunch, noticed the way she moved more slowly, the way her hands sometimes rested on her belly, the same way mine did, the way exhaustion showed in her face. I told myself I was being observant, managing my team, making sure the work got done. But that's not what I was doing, is it? I was building a case, collecting evidence of every small failure, every tiny mistake, the misfiled document, the missed phone call, the meeting she forgot to add to the calendar. Things I would have overlooked before, things I had overlooked 100 times, suddenly became unacceptable. My assistant called in sick one Monday morning. Morning sickness, probably. I'd had it too. Knew exactly how it felt. That wave of nausea that comes out of nowhere and leaves you hollow. But when she called, all I felt was irritation. "I need you to come in," I said. "We have the Stevenson presentation today." There was a pause. "I really can't," she said, and her voice was small. "I've been up all night. I can barely." "Everyone feels sick when they're pregnant," I said. The words came out harder than I meant them to. "But we all still have jobs to do." Another pause. Longer this time. "I'll try," she said finally. She didn't come in. I did the presentation myself, furious the whole time, and it went fine. Of course it went fine. I didn't actually need her there. But that wasn't the point, was it? The point was that she had failed me. Or that's what I told myself. It was my husband who suggested I needed more help. We were lying in bed one night, and I was complaining about work, about how overwhelmed I was, about how I couldn't possibly manage everything. "Maybe it's time to hire someone else," he said, carefully. "Just temporarily, to help out." "I have someone," I said. "I know, but Miranda's pregnant too. She's going to need time off, and you." He put his hand on my belly. "You're going to need time too." The thought settled in my mind like a seed. Simple, logical, reasonable. If I hired someone new now, they could learn the job before Miranda left. Before I left, it was just good planning, just good business sense. I didn't think about what it meant for Miranda. Or maybe I did, and I just didn't let myself care. I called her into my office on a Thursday afternoon. The light coming through the window was harsh, unforgiving. She sat across from me with her hands folded in her lap, and I remember thinking she looked tired. We both did. "I need to talk to you about staffing," I said. She nodded, waiting. "With your pregnancy and mine, I think we need to bring someone else on. Someone who can provide more consistent coverage." "Okay," she said slowly. "That makes sense. When were you thinking?" "Actually," I said, and here's where the memory gets sharp, where every detail is clear as glass, "I think it would be better to transition now. I'm going to let you go, effective immediately." The silence that followed was the loudest sound I've ever heard. "I don't understand," she said finally. "I thought you were talking about hiring someone additional, not replacing me." "I think this is the best solution for everyone," I said. I didn't look at her, kept my eyes on the papers in front of me, though I wasn't really reading them. "But I'm pregnant," she said. Her voice was shaking. "You can't fire someone for being pregnant." "I'm not firing you for being pregnant," I said, still not looking up. "This is a business decision. Your performance has been inconsistent lately, and I need someone I can rely on." That was the word I used. Inconsistent. As if her morning sickness was a character flaw. As if growing a life inside her body was somehow a failure of professional responsibility. "Please," she said, and the word broke on her lips. "Please, I need this job. I don't have anything else. No savings. No partner. No. I've made my decision, I said. She stood up. Slowly, carefully, one hand on her belly like she was protecting something precious from something dangerous. You'll regret this, she said. Not angry, just sad. So terribly sad. I didn't respond, just sat there, still not meeting her eyes, until she left my office for the last time. I told myself I felt nothing, but that night, I couldn't sleep. Just lay there in the dark with my hands on my belly, feeling my baby move, and tried not to think about another woman, younger and more scared, feeling her baby move in a house that was probably less warm than mine. The baby shower was my sister's idea. I didn't want one, really. Didn't like the idea of being the center of attention. All those people watching me open gifts and exclaiming over tiny clothes. But she insisted, and I was tired, and it was easier to say yes than to argue. So there I was, on a Sunday afternoon in May, sitting in my living room, surrounded by ribbons and wrapping paper, and people who cared about me. My sister had decorated everything in soft yellow and white. Since you're not finding out the gender, she said. There were flowers everywhere, the kind that bloom early and fade fast. Someone had made a cake shaped like a stork. It was all very sweet, very traditional, very normal. The guests arrived in waves. My mother's friends, women who had known me since I was small, who still saw me as someone's daughter, rather than someone becoming a mother herself. Colleagues from work, careful to keep the conversation light and professional. Neighbors I barely knew who brought wrapped gifts and awkward smiles. They sat in a circle around me, like some ancient ritual, and watched as I opened each present. I felt their eyes on my belly, on my hands, on my face, measuring something, judging something. Or maybe that was just my own guilt making me paranoid. I opened gifts and smiled and said thank you. Tiny socks with animals on them. A blanket someone's grandmother had knitted, soft and cream-colored and perfect. A mobile with stars that glowed in the dark. A book about sleep training. Another about breastfeeding. A third about what to do when nothing works and you're crying at 3 a.m. Each gift felt heavier than it should have. Each one a reminder that I was about to be responsible for something precious. Something that depended on me to be better than I was. You're going to be such a good mother, someone said. An older woman whose name I couldn't remember. She reached out and touched my arm gently. I smiled, thanked her, tried to believe it, but the words rang hollow. How could I be a good mother when I had been so cruel to someone who was trying to become one too? How could I teach my child about kindness and fairness when I had shown neither to someone who needed them most? The party had a rhythm to it. Like a dance, everyone knew the steps to except me. Laughter at the right moments. Exclamations over the tiny clothes. Advice offered freely. Some of it welcome, most of it not. Stories about their own pregnancies, their own births, their own babies who were now grown with children of their own. It goes so fast, someone said. Treasure every moment. Sleep when the baby sleeps, another advised. That's the only way you'll survive the first few months. Don't listen to anyone's advice, a third woman said with a laugh. Every baby is different. You'll figure it out. I nodded at everything, smiled, thanked them for their wisdom. But inside, I was somewhere else, thinking about Miranda, wondering what her baby shower had been like, if she'd had one at all, wondering if she'd been surrounded by people who loved her and wanted to help, or if she'd faced it all alone. My husband caught my eye from across the room. He was talking to my father, but his attention was on me, checking in without words. Are you okay? His expression asked. I nodded, mouthed, "I'm fine." But I wasn't fine. I was adrift in a sea of yellow ribbons and well wishes, drowning in my own hypocrisy. The party wound down slowly. People lingered over coffee and cake, reluctant to leave the warmth. The afternoon light was changing, growing softer and more golden. Someone's child was playing in the corner with the ribbon from the gifts, making long, curling streams of color. My sister was in the kitchen, washing dishes and humming something soft. I could hear the water running, the gentle clink of plates. My husband was walking an elderly aunt to her car, his arm linked with hers as they moved slowly down the front path. Through the window, I watched them pause so she could admire the early roses blooming by the fence. I was alone in the living room, surrounded by the wreckage of celebration. Gift bags toppled on their sides, tissue paper scattered across the coffee table. That ridiculous stork cake, half eaten, with its fondant feathers slowly melting in the warm afternoon. The quiet felt strange after so much noise, like the silence after music stops, when your ears are still expecting sound. That's when I heard it, the soft whisper of paper on hardwood. For a moment, I didn't move, just sat there in my chair, one hand resting on my belly, where the baby was shifting, restless. There was something about that sound, so small, so ordinary, that made every other sound in the house seem to fade away. The clock ticking on the mantel, the distant hum of traffic outside, my sister's humming from the kitchen. All of it receded until there was nothing but that whisper, paper on wood. I knew, somehow. Knew before I even saw it. Knew before I bent down, one hand on my belly for balance, the other reaching for the envelope that someone had slid under my front door. The paper was thick, expensive, the kind lawyers use when they want their letters to carry weight. The return address was embossed in dark blue ink. A law firm downtown, one of the big ones, the kind with names that go on for 3 lines. My hands were shaking as I opened it. Inside were legal documents, pages and pages of them, dense with words I had to read 3 times before they made sense. Legal terms that seemed designed to hide meaning rather than reveal it. Plaintiff, defendant, wrongful termination, pregnancy discrimination, emotional distress, pain and suffering, compensatory damages, punitive damages, a lawsuit filed by Miranda Vasquez against me and my company. The baby shower gifts surrounded me like accusations. The tiny clothes folded so carefully, the blankets in their soft pastels, the books about how to be a good mother, how to raise a kind child, how to build a life filled with love and security. And in my hands, paper proof that I had hurt someone who was exactly where I was, scared, pregnant, trying to figure out how to bring a life into this world while keeping her own life from falling apart. The complaint laid it all out in black and white. Her story, the one I'd never bothered to really hear when she was sitting across from me, trying to explain why she needed this job. She was 26 years old. The father had left when she told him about the pregnancy. She had $300 in savings. She was living with her mother in a 1-bedroom apartment. This was her first real job out of college. She had plans. Student loans to pay off, a life to build, a future that had seemed possible until the day I called her into my office. The legal language was cold, clinical. But between the lines, I could read her fear, her desperation. The nights she probably spent crying, wondering how she would afford diapers and formula and all the 1,000 things a baby needs. The shame of having to ask for help. The terror of bringing a child into a world where she couldn't provide basic security. All because of me? All because I decided that my convenience mattered more than her survival. I don't know how long I sat there. Time felt strange, elastic. The light outside was changing, from gold to amber to something deeper. The shadows were lengthening across the room, reaching toward me like fingers. My sister found me eventually, still holding the papers. She'd finished in the kitchen and came out drying her hands on a dish towel, still humming. But she stopped when she saw me. "What is it?" she asked, crossing the room. I couldn't speak, just handed her the documents. Watched her face change as she read. Watched understanding dawn, then shock, then something I couldn't quite name. She read through several pages in silence. When she finally looked up at me, her expression was different than I'd ever seen it. Not the big sister who'd always protected me, always taken my side, always assumed the best of me. This was something else, something sadder. "What did you do?" she asked quietly. Not, "What happened?" Not, "What's going on?" Not, "This must be some mistake." But what did you do? Because somehow she knew. Could see it in my face maybe. The guilt I'd been carrying for weeks, growing heavier every day, just like the baby inside me. The weight of it showing in my eyes, in the way I couldn't quite meet her gaze. "I fired someone," I said. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. Small, like a child confessing to something they know is wrong. She was pregnant, and I fired her. The words hung in the air between us, heavy, irrevocable. My sister sat down beside me, folded the papers carefully, and set them on the coffee table, face down, as if not seeing them might somehow make them less real. "Why?" she asked. It was such a simple question, just one word. But it opened something in me like a door I'd been holding shut. Why? Why had I done it? Why had I looked at a young woman who was scared and vulnerable and needed help, and decided that helping her would cost me too much? Why had I chosen cruelty over compassion? Why had I let my own fear poison everything it touched? Because I was scared, I said finally, the truth coming out in pieces. Because I was going to need help, and I thought she couldn't give it to me. Because I was tired and overwhelmed and angry that she'd gotten pregnant at the same time I did. Because I stopped. Because the reasons kept going and going, each one smaller and more selfish than the last. Because I could. Because it was easier. Because I'd convinced myself I had to look out for myself first. Because I forgot, I said finally. I forgot that she was a person. I just saw a problem, an inconvenience, something in my way. My sister's hand found mine, squeezed it. Not comfort, exactly, just presence, just witness. She needed that job, she said. It wasn't a question. Yes, and you knew that. Yes. The truth was a knife between us, sharp and clean and honest. I could have lied, could have made excuses, could have blamed her performance or the timing or a dozen other things that would have made the story easier to tell. But I was so tired of lying, tired of carrying this weight alone in the dark, pretending it wasn't there. I keep thinking about her, I said, about what she's been going through these last few weeks. How scared she must be. How alone. My sister was quiet for a long moment. Outside, I could hear my husband saying goodbye to someone in the driveway. The sound of car doors closing. Engines starting. The party was truly over now. You can't undo it, she said finally, but you can try to make it right. How? She gestured to the papers. Start there. Don't fight this. Don't make it harder than it already is. Give her what she's asking for. Give her more than she's asking for. Will that be enough? My sister looked at me with something like pity. Probably not, but it's a start. The thing about guilt is that it grows inside you just like a baby does. You can ignore it for a while, pretend it isn't there, go about your business. But eventually, it gets too big to hide. Eventually, it demands to be born into the world. And when it is, you have to look at it, have to see what you've created. I had created this, not the baby shower, not the celebration, not the love and support surrounding me. I had created pain, fear, desperation in another woman who was trying to do exactly what I was trying to do. Survive, prepare, build a life for a child who hadn't asked to be born into a complicated world. I need to fix this, I said. My sister sat down beside me, put her hand over mine. Yes, she said, you do. I won't tell you that everything ended perfectly. Life isn't like that, is it? You can't undo harm just by wishing you hadn't done it. I called Miranda's lawyer the next morning, told them I wanted to settle, told them I would pay whatever was fair, whatever would help her get back on her feet, that I would provide a reference, a severance package, everything she should have gotten in the first place. It wasn't enough. Money never is. But it was something. I wrote her a letter too. Not through lawyers, though they advised against it. Just me, sitting at my kitchen table, trying to find words that could carry the weight of what I needed to say. I'm sorry. I was wrong. You deserved better. I let my own fear make me cruel. And you paid the price for that. And I am so sorry. I don't know if she read it. I never heard back. Maybe she threw it away. Maybe she burned it. Maybe she keeps it in a drawer somewhere. Proof that the person who hurt her at least acknowledged the wound. I hope she's okay now. I hope her baby is healthy and happy. I hope she found work somewhere better. Somewhere that saw her value. I hope she's forgotten me, honestly. Forgotten the sound of my voice telling her she wasn't good enough, that she was inconsistent, that her pregnancy was an inconvenience I couldn't accommodate. My daughter was born in July. The delivery was hard, longer than expected, and when they finally placed her in my arms, I looked down at her red, scrunched face and thought about another baby, another mother, somewhere in this city, holding her own child, and maybe thinking about me, maybe hating me, maybe forgiving me, maybe just too tired to care anymore. They tell you that becoming a mother changes you, that you suddenly understand love in a new way, and maybe that's true. But what they don't tell you is that it makes you understand fear in a new way too. The terrible vulnerability of it. The way you would do anything, hurt anyone, break any rule to protect this small life that depends on you completely. That doesn't excuse what I did. Understanding isn't the same as forgiveness, but it helped me understand myself a little better. Helped me see that the cruelty I showed Miranda came from the same place as the love I felt for my daughter. A desperate, animal fear that there might not be enough time, enough help, enough of me to go around. But there is enough. There always is, if we're brave enough to share it. If we're brave enough to see other people's fear and vulnerability and recognize them as the same as our own. My daughter is 3 now. She has Miranda's dark hair, though I didn't realize that until she was nearly a year old. Sometimes I look at her and wonder if Miranda's baby has my eyes. If somewhere in this city, 2 little ones are growing up who could have been friends, whose mothers could have helped each other through the hardest time of their lives. Instead, I chose isolation. I chose protection over connection. And what I ended up with was a beautiful daughter and a lesson that still sits heavy in my chest. The lawsuit was settled quietly. Sealed records, non-disclosure agreements, all the usual protections that money and lawyers can buy. My daughter will never know about it unless I tell her. And maybe someday I will. Maybe when she's old enough to understand that mothers aren't perfect, that they make mistakes, that they hurt people, sometimes, even when they're trying so hard to do everything right. I keep that envelope, the one that was slid under my door during my baby shower. It's in a drawer in my office, underneath some files I never look at. Sometimes I open that drawer for something else and I see it there, and I remember. I remember the sound of paper on hardwood, the way my heart stopped, the way all that joy and celebration suddenly felt hollow, the way the truth has of arriving at exactly the moment you've convinced yourself you can ignore it forever. There's a line from a poem I read once, though I can't remember who wrote it. The wound is the place where the light enters you. I think about that sometimes, about wounds and light, and the way pain can crack you open in ways that love alone never quite manages. About how we grow around our regrets, like trees grow around old scars. The damage becomes part of us, changes our shape, but doesn't have to define us completely. I'd like to think I'm a better person now, that I learned something from all of this, that I lead with empathy more than I used to, that I see the people who work for me as people first, with lives and fears and hopes that are just as valid as my own. I'd like to think that, and maybe it's even true. But I also know that knowing better doesn't erase what I did, doesn't take away the fear I caused or the pain I inflicted, doesn't give Miranda back the months of stress and worry while she was pregnant, wondering how she would provide for her baby. All I can do is carry it, carry the memory of who I was in that moment, and try, every day, to be someone different, someone better, someone who remembers that we're all just scared people trying our best, and that sometimes mercy matters more than convenience. The evening light is fading now. My daughter is asleep upstairs, one arm thrown over her head the way she slept since she was born. My husband is reading in the other room. The house is quiet, except for the old familiar sounds it makes as it settles into night. I think I'll stay here a little longer, though, just sitting with the weight of memory, the weight of paper sliding under a door, the weight of knowing that our actions ripple out in ways we can't always see, touching lives we may never fully understand. There's a kind of peace in that, I think. Not absolution, not forgiveness, necessarily, but an acceptance that we're all just human, beautifully, terribly human, capable of great love and great harm, sometimes in the same breath. And maybe that's enough. To know it, to carry it, to try each day, to tip the balance a little more toward love. The night is soft outside my window. Somewhere in this city, a woman I wronged is probably sitting in her own quiet house, her own child asleep upstairs. Maybe she thinks of me sometimes. Maybe she doesn't. Either way, I hope she's happy. I hope she's found peace. And I hope somehow she knows that I carry her memory with me like a prayer. A reminder of all the ways we can hurt each other when we forget that beneath our fear and our protective instincts, we're all just trying to survive with a little dignity intact. The house is settling now, the quiet deepening. And I think I'll sit here just a while longer, listening to the sound of paper I heard 3 years ago, still echoing softly in the walls of my memory. There's something healing in remembering, don't you think? Even when the memory hurts, especially then.